Say your. What's up, La Familia?
What's up, baby? What's popping?
What's going on? Thank you, Good Noodles family. Welcome back to the Good Noodles Podcast. This is your boy, Willie Knight, first of his name, alongside my brothers, Adam and Isaac. What's up, fellas?
Man, you know, another week, another dollar, baby.
That's it. Okay. A much better week than the last few weeks.
I'm just glad I went in the hospital.
Man, we are too. I'm glad you're not in the hospital. I'm glad to see you back on your feet. Your beard looks very well watered.
Oh, conditioned well.
That's wonderful. So today we're gonna go right into our few favorite segments. We're gonna go into Scuffs My Tims. We got Yo Good Noodles, and we got a hot topic that the Good Noodles need to address.
Yes, sir.
So a lot of our feedback is that we don't have a woman's perspective on things. And we appreciate the women that do provide some feedback to us. But the Good Noodles have been doing what Good Noodles do, and that's listen. So we went out and we got 3 women to come on the show and talk about some things. However, the main event, while we're all gathered here today on this lovely week of good noodling, is that we are going to talk about religion, why people get away from religion, how people push their religion onto others, and just how we feel about that. So without further ado, we're going to welcome our first guest. Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, please welcome Miss Nicole Shields.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to the Good Noodles Podcast.
Glad to be here.
We thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you hitting me up saying, hey, I think you guys should talk about this. And then I was like, well, how about you come talk about it with me?
Right.
Should have told me that before.
Yeah. I told her that. She was like, for real? Yeah, come talk about it. So this segment is called Yo Good Noodles because that's literally what she did. She was like, Yo Good Noodles, this is what y'all should talk about. So what we're going to talk about right now is the stigma between men and women's promiscuity. Why is it that when men have multiple sex partners, they are a playa from the Himalayas? But when a woman has multiple sex partners, she's all types of derogatory terms. She's a thought, she's a hoe, she's all types of other stuff. So let's talk about that. So we gonna pass it right to you, Miss Nicole. What's your thoughts? What you got to say? I want to know.
Well, I truly believe like a woman knows what she wants. So if she wants to go out there and be with multiple guys, no type of commitment, like let her do her. It's her business, it's her body. Like who cares? She wants to be a hoe, let her be a hoe.
I know, man.
I mean, I don't really consider it as being a hoe, honestly. Like, I feel like we all grown, bro. Like, if I want to go out and do whatever, I just got to deal with the consequences of what I'm doing. And if she want to go out and do whatever she want to do, got to make sure whenever you lay in that bed, you know what the consequences come with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Make sure you use protection. You keep that gun on your nightstand.
Ain't nobody. I'm not stepping out on nobody. I'm just saying I don't even need protection, but I'm just saying, like, fuck all that. Like, if you want to go out there and you're gonna be promiscuous and cheat and do whatever, that you want to sleep with 50 bodies, that's on you. But
right. Personally, I just rather not know how many bodies you got.
To me, that's a child question, bro. Like, we're all grown. Like, yeah. I really stopped counting a long time ago. Like, I stopped counting in probably when I was in like high school. Like who really sits and be like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, come on, bro. Like, how old are we, dog?
Yo, facts. So, I know I like to refer to movies and shows a lot, but I was watching She's Gotta Have It. The show, the movie was dope, but I think that they did a show. They put it on All right, Adam. Don't start with that coughing shit again, dog.
Man, I can't get rid of this fucking cough. This shit won't go away.
I was watching
here
She's
for
Gotta
6
Have
weeks.
It, and Nola Darling, she's the main character. She like the whole show or movie is about her having like 3 boyfriends that offer 3 different things. She's having sex with all of them. They all know about each other. And I think at one point she even had a girlfriend. And I think if you are gonna be in charge of your body like that, then you absolutely should be. Like, men are hoes too. It is what it is. I think if a woman wants to go out there and catch some bodies, I'm not gonna call her a hoe. I'm gonna go out there, girl. Go ahead. I ain't even mad at you. So
I think people just use the word hoe because society uses the word hoe.
So do you
Like,
think like music today, like the culture has obviously shifted for women and being openly sexual about their body. So you think like symbols like Amber Rose and Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj, like you think they've kind of helped with that like transition of getting rid of that stigma?
I think, well, yeah, kind of, sort of. I just think like the world has changed. Like, women are more in charge of like themselves, their lives. Like, they don't care. Like, they're not here to please anyone. They don't care what anybody thinks about them. Like, they just living their best life.
I
Who cares
support
what
it.
they do?
I support it.
I agree. Like, I think honestly, a lot of it has to do with another topic that we touched on was the machismo and that era of women falling in line with what men say, and as time progresses, and another topic that we touched on is the development of us growing as people, and that's one of the lanes that has kind of grown over the years, is that like now the more we progress over the years, the more, which is messed up in my opinion, before I say this, the more women are being looked at as equals, because it's always been like going back to the days it took women years to vote. It took women years to, get jobs that were only for men. Like, Willie, you can attest to this because, Janine had a job that was literally built for men, and she
Construction
rocked it.
worker.
She rocked it for
a
years.
male dominant
You
field.
know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So I think it's one of those things where now, like you said, you mentioned, music. I feel like, Meg and Cardi is another one. Like Cardi and Meg got killed over that last song.
Hey,
but it's
shout out to the Barty Gang. That song is fire.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't care what no one says. I can't really ride down the Ave going bar for bar on the song.
Really be in the shower vibing, bro.
Yeah, that's more. I'm in the garage or something like.
So it's just one of them things. Right. So I just feel like it's one of those things where it's like, growing up, a lot of the things that we talked about already were viewed as, oh, she's a hoe, she's a hoe, she's a hoe. Like, I've made the joke, like, I don't believe the same, but I've made the joke, like, somebody said, a philosopher said one time, a key that opens many locks is a good key, but a lock that's opened by many keys is a bad lock. And it's to me, it's funny, but like, people actually have that mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool for guys to sleep with 10, 20, 30, 50, how many women. And then women who do the same thing are viewed as less as a person for doing the same thing that man did. And I don't believe in that. Like, straight up, like, I don't, like Adam said, I don't care how many bodies you got. I don't. Like, you know what?
It only matters what happens when you're with me.
Right. Like, as long as you clean, as long as you ain't got nothing, I don't care what happened in your past. As long as me and you together, and we've made a decision that me and you are only going to lay in bed with each other, that's all I care about.
Fact. That's
maturity.
That's what it is.
That's what I don't be getting. Like, people really be pressed about.
I appreciate that.
How many people you slept with? Like, bro, that shit don't matter, dog. Why does it? Like,
it
how
doesn't
many years
matter.
have I been alive before I even met you, dog? Like, I've
right.
Like,
I've been with women who get mad, like, and this is not like a pat on the back type situation. Like, women have literally asked me, like, women that I've been in relationships be like, well, how many women you slept with? And my response will either be like a guesstimate or honestly, I don't know. And they get mad, and I'm like, for what? What are you getting mad for?
Yeah.
As long as I'm not adding bodies after I'm with you, what are you mad about?
So Nicole, that goes, I mean, it goes further too. Like it's not just like their sex partners, it's how they talk about it. They get like, it's like frowned upon for women to be open about their sexuality, um, stuff like that. So what's your take on that? Like have you think we've progressed as society with women doing shit that men do and it being equal across the board or what?
No, I don't, because they still get looked down upon. And then, like, if a woman is openly talking about her sex life and all that stuff, like, she's wrong. Like, I mean, like, yeah, your sex life is supposed to be private, but if you that type of person that's like out there doing your thing, if you want to talk about it, you should know who you're talking about it to. You shouldn't, like, you don't broadcast all that stuff out to everybody. But
Agreed.
I don't think we've made progress. I still feel like we still got some ways to go.
So with that being said, I feel like there's also, as individuals, we also have a personal responsibility, like you said, to know who you're talking to your business about. Because
Yeah.
I'm not saying censorship where you can't be who you are openly, but sexual relationships period are an intimate thing. So like I'm not gonna tell I'm not gonna be at my shop, and especially like I work in an S1. So I'm not gonna be in the S1 telling everybody
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I did X, Y, and Z this weekend. I was with Shorty Y, Shorty X, you know what I mean? Like that's not everybody's business. So I think that's a part of it where you have to look at it not everybody needs to know your personal business. And that's the way I've been trying to live my life. Like nobody needs to know unless I put it out on purpose. Nobody needs to know who I'm with. You know what I'm saying? Like if I decide that I want to be a private person, that's okay. So, like I think that's part of the stigma too, because now when you start being too open, everybody makes an opinion without knowing the whole story.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So Nicole, do you tell you give different advice to your male friends and female friends if they're engaging in promiscuous activities? Do they get different treatment?
Nah, I condone it. Like, do you, boo?
Go
I
ahead, girl.
do.
you know, you just
No,
be
and that's the
smart
fact.
about it.
Exactly. All you got to do is take care of yourself physically, take care of yourself mentally, because that's the other part of it. Mentally, people think that sex is just a physical transaction. It's not.
Right.
Like and laying down in the bed with somebody
It
having
doesn't have to
sex.
be.
It's not just a physical transaction. Like believe it or not, even if you don't, even if you want it to be just a physical transaction, it's not. Like you have sex with somebody, you can never erase that. Like I don't care if it was a one night stand, y'all got drunk, y'all hooked up, it's there forever.
Nah, if I
So
don't remember, I don't remember.
I know everybody wish they got some receipts though.
you ain't lying.
Everybody wish they got
Yeah.
some receipts to return it. So, I think we've
If I
all
don't
come.
remember, it ain't happening.
That's a fact. I think we've all come to a consensus with that. All right. I think that was a great conversation. Nicole, I appreciate your feedback on that, but we're not done with you yet. I think it's time for us and our guests to take a shot.
Let's do it.
Shout out to the Jack Daniels. Salud.
I'm drinking Jack
Dinero.
Daniels tonight too.
Dinero, amor.
Salud.
Salute.
Yes, sir. I do my little dancey dance. Okay. Before we let you go, Nicole, there's a few more things we want to talk about.
Okay, let's
So
go.
we've been getting some heat. For using the term female. Now, people like us, as well as yourself, that have invested their life or a portion of it into the military, that's a norm for us. It's in no which way, shape, or form has it ever been brought up as a derogatory term, or anything like that. Literally everything in the Army is male or female. I think, and even in some training manuals for equipment, it'll say male part and female part, like legit. But apparently in the civilian side of the world, female is becoming a very taboo term. Like women don't like being called that. They basically, are saying that female is like saying bitch without saying bitch. So what's your thoughts on that?
I think that somebody being sensitive or some people being sensitive, because isn't that how you identify your gender when you fill out paperwork, male or female?
That's true.
That's what I see.
So
I say M
I
or
mean,
F.
like, I don't see the relation female to bitch. I don't see it. So I truly believe the people who feel like that, they're just sensitive and they're looking for something to complain about.
See,
So
that's what I was saying, bro. See, that's
yeah.
exactly what I was saying. And I was like, bro, for that, we just might as well just start saying bitches. Cause like, there's no, like, we definitely were, we said female and then we said women, you know, then we said a woman just as an individual and people are still slandering us. I'm like, well, damn, we might as well just say bitch. If like, what's the point of trying to sugarcoat it or like trying to not say the word when we're trying to be gender specific and y'all are basically saying that we're calling you bitches anyways.
Promise you, I think by the time us drunk uncles become the drunk grandfathers, I know that's a long time for all of us. When we become the drunk grandfathers, I'm pretty sure at some point in time, everything is gonna be universal pronouns. Everything is gonna be they, them type shit. Like I think at
So let me hold on.
because I don't get it. Like I'm gonna respect the request of the Good Noodles family. Like I'm not gonna ignore it and say we'll just keep using it. But please understand to our Good Noodles listeners and viewers that when we say female, understand we all have a military background and some of those terms are just naturally just what we use. Like if I say female, Isaac, male, Adam, even Nicole, we say female in no which way, shape, or form are we using it in a derogatory sense. It's just what we are used to saying when we are describing women or trying to identify women. Like I work with my wife. There's 2 sergeant knights at work. They both staff sergeants. They both the same MOS. So people will be like, Sergeant Knight male, Sergeant Knight female. I'll be telling them just call me Willie. I don't give a fuck about all that other shit. But just naturally, they just male, female knight, female, male knight, whatever the case. So it's at least to us, and I suppose in a sense we are all just one demographic. However, on the civilian side, that's a taboo thing. I didn't even know that until we started this podcast.
So hold on. First of all, let me get a good angle. So make sure I look like Joe Budden when I say this.
You like Joe Budden all the time.
You like Joe Budden all the time. Just live your life. What the fuck?
All you gotta do is wake up.
So I'm gonna say this. So you harped on the fact that it's a military thing, and which I appreciate you did because that was one of my points. But 3 out of the 4 people in this picture right now, because I don't know, Nicole, where are you from?
I'm from Texas.
Okay, yeah. So 3 out of the 4 people in this call right now, we're from New York. Y'all can attest to this and tell me if I'm crazy or not. Do we not use the term female as just an everyday thing in New York?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, like, hey, female this, female that, like, oh, the females, hey, whatever the case may be, and it's never derogatory. So again, like you said, Willie, everybody is entitled to feel the way they feel. I'm perfectly fine with that. Like, I will never tell anybody, hey, you feel bad about this, you're wrong, because you know what? We all have our own feelings. We all have our own things that bother us. We all have everything. You're entitled to feel anything, any feeling, whatever. But the one thing that I'm not going to agree with is you telling me that I'm wrong for saying something like, I'm trying to explain it the best way. Like you telling me that I'm wrong for saying something that I feel is okay, but you're just bashing me for it. Because that's, you know what I'm saying? Like the term female, like you said, the military, like you said, like it's literally an everyday thing. Like I'll put like the best way to put it is I work in the S1. I'll get a phone call, Sergeant Major, hey, I need to know how many female, 31 Bravos we got in the battalion. He didn't mean nothing by that. He wasn't trying to, degrade them.
How many bitches we got in here?
Right. Now it's
Sorry, Major call you walk in like, yo, where the bitches at? Sorry, Moretta.
Right. So it's different. It's different. You know what I'm saying? Hey, how many you know what? How many male 31 Bravos? Nobody gets mad when men get called males.
So
nobody gets mad.
Question. It came to mind, and I might be reaching, and by all means, tell me if I am. Are we at the point with this female term that we could start comparing it to the term to nigga? If I say
so hold on.
People's like, nah, don't call me that, fam. So people, are we there yet? Is that what?
Do you remember? Shout out to the other good noodle who's not present, but Mel sent that post in the group chat where it was like, I'll stop calling y'all niggas when y'all stop calling us females.
Okay, but you know, there's mixed terms with there's mixed feelings about that.
That's what I'm saying. But like, I'm saying the post made no sense to me because it
went over my head. That's why I was confused when you said that.
No. So to me, let me tell you right now, and this is my personal opinion. Again, anything that I say on this podcast is just my personal opinion. The term nigga came from what? Everybody knows where the derogatory term. The term female literally comes from describing your anatomy as a person. Two completely different things.
So I think what was said is that also people started using it in a derogatory sense.
Like, what, female?
Yeah.
The only time I really ever had, like, I wouldn't even really say like I had anybody degrading me towards, but it's like in basic, whenever the drill sergeants was like scolding the females. But I mean, that's basic, bro. We was all getting scolded for dumb shit anyway.
Right.
So like,
right.
I mean, so that's the only time I could really see when it was like the females was more of a derogatory term.
Okay. So
Nicole, only like military people related will really understand that. It is like civilians would understand that. You know what I'm saying?
So Nicole, let me ask you this: like, as a woman yourself, can you see any way that the word female can be used as derogatory?
I don't see it. Like when Willie asked me and mentioned the topic, I tried to figure out how it was derogatory and how it could be compared to to being called a bitch. And I just don't see it.
I can't.
It makes no sense.
I respect the feedback. I respect the opinion, but I just
don't see it.
When we have our other guests on the show later today, we will try to figure it out as well.
We were talking about it in the group chat. I didn't think it was.
And the thing is,
I still think it's bullshit now.
So when we talked about this, this topic in the group chat, like I'm not gonna lie, it didn't get me like agitated or nothing like that, but it was like one of those things. Like I was trying to figure it out, just like you said, Nicole. Like you were racking your brain, like trying to figure it out. So what I did was, and Willie and Adam can attest to it, I asked a question to 5 different women that I know, different demographic, different ages, different races, all that. And I said, hey, what do you think about this? And literally all 5 came back and said, that sounds dumb to me. I don't understand why you would be offended by that.
But there's a few people that said that it was.
Right. But I'm saying like the overwhelming majority is like, and again, I want to say this again because I feel like people need to like hear this. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that we're trying to figure out like where does that fall into the realm of possibility, because it just seems like the overwhelming majority doesn't feel that way.
Okay.
I don't.
Maybe the people they deal with that use the term
I feel like there is a population out there that uses it in a derogatory term.
Yeah,
and that could be it.
That would make sense. But what I'm saying is like the way that they came at us, it was like, bro, we might as well just said bitches. Like that's what was irritating.
No, but those were their exact words, Adam. Remember?
No, but that's
well. Then I would have been like, well, okay, then, bitch.
That's what, and that was me in the group chat. That was me in the group chat.
Yo,
like, we just gonna call it
that's how you feel.
Who's the female?
Because those were their,
right?
Because those were their exact words. Their exact words were, "Oh, Stop saying female, because saying female is basically like saying bitch without
Nah,
saying
and that's
bitch.
why I was
Well,
just like, nah, fuck it. So I'm just gonna skip it and say bitches. Like,
It's
there's no
weird
point.
because
Like,
I feel like it's not even as cool. It don't even sound as emphatic as if I say female. Like imagine the term when I'm Rick James, female. Like
No.
that shit
nobody
sound
would have
whack.
repeated that shit ever. Like what? No. Shout out to Rick James. Rest in peace, man. To the girl
rest in peace to my
backstage
dog.
who asked me who I was. I'm Rick. Like, come on, I'm Rick James, female. That's all right. Come on. I still respect the opinions of
All right.
So
I do. We respect the opinion. We're just expressing our opinion.
I respect it to an extent, but
I
I still think
I
it was
think-
bullshit.
I think we can politely say request denied. We will work on it though. We won't. We will
Hey, where's
try.
my? Hey, you know what? For the we all been in the military. I'm gonna get my S1 stamp. Return without action.
Return without action. Block 12 is not signed.
Not at all.
So we appreciate you coming on the show, Nicole. But before we let you go, just one more thing. We need to know, and we want the people to hear. And just in case they don't see the feedback that we get, because we don't share it with the people other than what we say on specific things. But from a woman's perspective, as well as a fan of the show, and we appreciate you being a fan. I can't express that enough.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You told me you was watching it and shit. I was like, oh, for real? like I was gassed up. Like what? Like no way. So we appreciate you being a fan of the show. So from a woman's perspective, what's your thoughts on the show? This is for men that sometimes we be talking about women and stuff like that. Like, what's your thoughts?
And sometimes we toe the line, sometimes we cross the line, you know.
Well, I enjoy the show. There's a few episodes I need to catch up on, so don't hold that against me. But I enjoy it. Like you guys are funny. Y'all bring up like current topics. So like everything about what you're doing is, I feel like is going in a good direction.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Seriously, thank you. I appreciate it.
With the episodes you have watched, is there anything you wanted to bring up? You want to talk about real quick?
Oh no, I'm gonna stay out of that. Okay.
Miss Nicole, we appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much for coming.
Seriously,
thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. Enjoy your hookah. Enjoy your drinks tonight. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, y'all have a good one.
You too.
Take it easy.
Yo, okay, so we gonna continue on with the show. We got a special guest in the waiting room for us. We have Mrs. Nancy Knight that wants to come on the show and talk about religion. But before we get into that, we are going to talk about a few other things. Our guest personally requested to be on Scuffs My Tims because apparently she got something to say. So with that being said, Isaac, pull up from the flow up.
Yes, sir.
Let's take a shot.
And correct yourself next time.
Adam, sip on your water.
Because that's Queen night, by the way.
Salud, dinero, amor.
Salud, dinero, amor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's bring in our guest. And do my little dancey dance. Hey.
Why fucking Isaac looked like he was about to start twerking?
See, look, baby, you already got shit to edit. Welcome to the show, Nancy Knight.
Thank you for having me.
Knight.
Of course. It's about time we had you on here.
Ladies and
She's
gentlemen.
been there the whole time.
Literally has. Damas y caballeros, I would like you guys to meet our editor.
Yes, sir.
Our editor in chief right here. All the good edits that we have on the show, on the video.
He makes us look good.
On Spotify and all the listening platforms. But she has been very supportive of this podcast since day one. Definitely almost every time we get off the air, I definitely get an earful about some bullshit we done said, and I need a woman's perspective and this, that, and the third. But for those that don't know, this is my wife, my beautiful queen.
You're married?
I'm sorry.
You're married?
Shut the fuck up.
I didn't know you was married, bro.
He's a taken noodle.
I like that. I like that.
I am a proudly taken noodle. So I see you got your Lakers shirt on. You trying to match my fly. This episode will be released the day before a very sad day in history.
Stop.
I'm sorry, Isaac. I gotta bring
Stop, man.
Shout out to Jamar Butler Sr. Gotta throw the senior in there, man. I love you, bro. I hope you watching the show and loving it. And I hope you're enjoying Germany. But he is one of the biggest Kobe fans I've ever met in my life. But
I have a question. Do y'all remember where y'all were when y'all found out?
yes,
I 100%.
I was dog watching for a friend. Shout out to Shayla. I won't say your whole name on. All right, Isaac, relax yourself. I won't say her whole government, but Shayla, you know who you are. I was dog watching for her / house sitting, and I had just got out the shower, and then I saw the news, and I was like, "This is crazy." It just didn't seem real.
I was watching my baby I was actually watching SportsCenter, no bull, and I started getting alerts to my phone. And when I tell you, I literally I couldn't believe it. And I think me and you spoke during what we were getting all
it's tough, man. It reminded me of Paul Walker. It's someone you just don't associate with death at all, you know. Kobe had just retired. Everyone knows
right. He was retired for what, 3-4 years he was retired?
Yeah. So it was tough, man. That was tough. That to me personally, since I've been alive, that was one of the most hard-hitting celebrity deaths of my life.
We gotta move on.
I had two.
I was in the
I had two. And I'll never forget Michael Jackson. And I was in New York City.
I was at baseball practice when Michael Jackson died,
and Kobe Bryant, and I was in church for that one.
Yeah,
I was in a kid museum, and we were coloring pictures with the baby and the boys,
and then everything else was colored purple and gold after that.
Yeah, then all of a sudden I got a text message. Well, first I got a notification from Sports Center, and then I got a text message in my group chat for work, and they were like, "Yo, did y'all hear about Kobe?" And I had just got the notification from Sports Center. I was like, "No, I don't think this shit's real." And then I started Googling it, and that shit was everywhere.
Yeah, it's
I think we were all in denial at first.
Yeah,
we thought it was hoax.
No, I really thought it wasn't real. I couldn't believe it, man. Even as a Knicks fan, Kobe was my guy. How many times?
A few times.
How many times growing up did you pull up to a trash can and say, "Kobe"?
As a growing up, I still do it. What the fuck?
Still do it, right? Exactly.
And it's despite anybody's power rankings or GOAT talk or whatever, all I'm gonna say is Kobe was my Jordan growing up. I caught the tail end of Jordan's career and whatnot, but growing up, man, Kobe was just that dude,
And you know what? Even though our age gap isn't that big, but our age gap, me and you, really, is big enough to where I knew Jordan to where Jordan was my Jordan. You know what I'm saying? But Kobe to me was always Jordan 2.0. Yeah, you know what I mean?
For real. So Kobe, man. We shout out to the Mamba.
I'm gonna start crying. Relax.
So we can go on with the show. We're gonna go into our favorite segment, which is called Scuffs My Tims, or Scuffs Your Chunklas, or
your Chucks, your Sperry's,
or your Nike, or whatever.
Shout out to one of our biggest supporters. I'm not gonna mention her by name because I don't know if she wants me to mention, but she said make sure we include Sperry's in there because those are her favorite shoes.
Okay, I think I got a pair of Sperry's.
Yeah, I got a pair of Sperry's too. Yeah.
All right, don't.
Oh.
Apparently,
she know what's in your closet, boy.
I know she's trying to empty that shit. We're gonna go and discuss my Tims, and today, being our special guest made a personal request to be on Discuss My Tims. We're gonna let her tell us what scuffs her Timbs, and I know she got some.
Yeah, I hope you know she got
mine.
Right.
So, without further ado, Mr. Isaac, tell us what scuffs your Timbs.
All right, so fellas, y'all know my background, just like I know y'all background. One of the biggest things, and I don't know why I didn't bring it up before, what scuffs my Timbs is deadbeat dads. That shit right there, how you could bring a child into this world and not want to be in your child's life. I'm telling you, as much as I love my two boys, y'all don't understand. When I see somebody that like literally makes a conscious effort not to be in your seed's life, I think, like my blood pressure goes through the roof. Like, especially knowing, like, I've seen it in situations where you didn't have a good father figure in your life. Your father figure may have left you. Guess what? You want to pass that down and keep the cycle going? Like, I'm telling you.
I just want to say that it's not just males, that it's females out there.
No. Okay, you know what? And you know what? I'm glad you caught me, Adam. Deadbeat parents, period. Deadbeat parents. Like,
there's some deadbeat women out there.
No,
and
so
there's deadbeat parents, period, where there's the mom and dad aren't, and grandma and grandpa
right.
have to step up.
Right.
Fact.
So no, I agree. So I'm gonna catch myself. Not just deadbeat dads, not just deadbeat moms, deadbeat parents, period. Like, if y'all know me, and y'all know me well enough, I love my boys like ain't nothing else. Like, everything that I do is for my boys. Like, the fact that I'm still in the military, the fact that I'm about to get promoted here soon, like, everything that I do is for my little mans. So when I see somebody that literally walks away from their child, y'all don't understand. Like, that shit literally makes my head hurt. Like, you made a conscious decision to lay with somebody, create a child, bring it into this world, give it a name, and then walk away from it. I will never understand that. Ever.
Well, you have situations too, you have different situations. You have, and I hate to bring it this deep, but that's who I am. I bring deep conversation.
Absolutely.
You have people that were raped and now they don't want to be part of that child's life. And
Agree.
So there's situations sometimes that put people in this, and then we automatically put them in a category, and that's not fair.
So but that's not a deadbeat to me. To me, that's not a deadbeat. Like, if you give up a child for adoption because you feel like you can't, raise them, or you can't provide, that's not a deadbeat. I'm talking about like somebody who has every opportunity to be in that child's life, but they choose not to. That's what I'm talking about. Because I'm telling you, I understand
specific about it.
Yeah, I'm being real specific. Like, people who literally, like, if you have a mother who was, God forbid, raped, or you have a mother who had a one-night stand and she doesn't have any money and she decided, hey, I'm going to have this child instead of having an abortion, but I want to give them a better life, so I'll put it over for adoption. I get that. But I'm talking about people who literally, like, you have every opportunity to take care of this child, but I refuse not to. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But where's the limit too, because there's people that want to be in their kids' lives, but even though they can provide for them, they don't feel like they have to provide for them. And then there's people that provide for them, but don't want to be in part of their lives.
And they see, and this is why we have conversations, because the way I see it, if, again, to my original point, if you made a decision to bring a child into his life, take responsibility. And not only take responsibility, like, as far as exactly, not just sending money, not just spending money, be in that child's life. Every child,
money doesn't do shit for a child.
Exactly. Like, not just spending it, be in your child's life. Like, I'm the perfect example. Look, I'll give y'all this. So when my oldest was born, I was deployed. So I missed the birth of my child, right? When I PCS to Kuwait, I left the day of his birthday, and then I PCS back to Fort Bragg 2 days after his birthday. So I missed 2 birthdays in a span of a year. You know what I'm saying? But
I do.
every FaceTime call I can make, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, could I have done better to, make more time to see him? Absolutely. But guess what? I'm still there. Like, when I FaceTime him, he says, "Hey, Dad," like, like he knows who I am. He knows that I'm there for him. He knows that, like, you have me. You know what I'm saying? So, and then y'all know with my youngest, if every time y'all FaceTime me on the weekend, I don't have Manny, y'all look at me like I'm crazy, right?
First of all, that's not his name.
Willie's nephew. He's got a onesie and all.
Willie's nephew, Moretti.
He's literally about to grow out of that onesie.
I don't care.
We'll get him a new one.
All right, but yeah, so that's what scuffs my Timbs. And hey, look, if y'all got any issues or if y'all support what I said, comment, hit us up, private, email us, text us, whatever the case may be. We want to know what the Good Noodles family feels like. So, Miss Nancy and the Visca Knight, I want to know what scuffs your Timbs.
This is gonna be it's deep because I can't take myself out of this, what I'm about to say, but people lying to themselves is something that really bothers me because it's something I used to do. I used to lie to myself, and it doesn't allow for people to heal, I think it's important to not lie to yourself. Because when you start lying to yourself and you start lying to your family and you start believing your lies, and it's just something that's bothered me, and that I don't know if y'all understand what I'm saying, but
I got you.
No, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, people
living in false narratives.
Yeah, like, I think, like, people try to, and not to play devil's advocate, but I see what you're saying. But I think some people, they lie to themselves for the intent of, like, I need to make it through the day. So let me lie and say I'm okay. I don't think that's where you were going with it, but that's where I'm gonna take it. Where it's like they just might be going through something or whatever the case may be, and then they're gonna lie and say, like, I'm okay. I'm gonna just lie and keep it pushing. Everything's okay, and then they get to the point of ignoring everything, and then they're lying and saying everything is good when actually everything is as toxic as fuck, and it's not healthy for them. They're indulging in unhealthy habits.
It's
and
a mental breakdown waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's a defense mechanism,
Facts. Because really just putting your guard up, you're just trying to put your guard up to get by, to do whatever you're trying to do to an extent. And then once you get there, then you have to put a whole nother guard up because now you have to create a new lie for whatever you're trying to achieve next.
Yeah. It's all connected to, just finding somebody that you can confide in, and letting it out, so that you can get that help, it's just, it brings you to too many walls and it's just toxic, and I'm not saying like it scuffs my Timbs to the point where I'm like, oh, I can't stand people like that. No, it scuffs my Timbs because it's not talked about enough, like, hey, people just, they lie to themselves to the point where they believe their own lies, and it needs to be talked about more, because people need to start getting help. It's coming to a world where it's just easier to become numb to everything that's going around you instead of being honest, to yourself or whoever is around you. So when I say it scuffs my Timbs, I don't want people to be like, oh, what do you mean? Like, it scuffs my Timbs that people they don't feel like they have that support to the point where they have to lie to themselves. And it bothers me. It really does. Because there are people out there that care, and there are people out there that are willing to help you through situations that you're going through. Don't be afraid to look out for help, you know, or find somebody to talk to. It doesn't make you any weaker. It makes you stronger, and it allows you to walk out of the situation that you might have found yourself in.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. Like this week at work or whatever the case may be, it was a pretty heavy week because we were doing a lot of conversations about equal opportunity amongst racism and extremism, a lot of sexual harassment and assault stuff, as well as suicide prevention stuff. And I was facilitating the conversation on suicide, and in facilitating that, I felt it was necessary to tell the people attending the event, you know, like I've attempted 3 times to kill myself. Obviously I've been unsuccessful all 3 times, but I just recently came out about all 3 times, and even my wife just recently learned all 3 times. It was me lying to myself. Like at one point I was trying to lie and say it wasn't something I did. I struggled with that for a while. And we'll definitely have like a whole nother episode on like mental health and depression and anxiety and things like that. That's definitely that's a long extended conversation that we need to have as the Good Noodles. But but for the sake of Scuffs My Tims, the one that's not so entertaining but very important to talk about. But I was lying to myself for a long time,
right?
My mental health and about the behaviors in my life. So I was definitely a part of the statistic that was scuffing Nancy's Tims. I'm pretty sure some of those scuffs came from me because I was lying about.
Yeah, no, and
even
the thing
like
is,
I said, even myself, I've done it too. You know, nobody's perfect. Like, you know, it's just getting to that point and realizing, like, hey, we've all done it. We've all lied to ourselves because it's easier to numb ourselves than it is to feel the pain.
Absolutely, 100%. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, like, I personally, and I can't speak for anybody else, I've tried to do it twice. And that's hard for me to like admit, just because you said like the whole point of discussing Tims is people who lie to themselves. There's been 2 times in my life where I said, you know what, it ain't worth it. The first time I did it, I was like, you know what, my kid might be better off without me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I had to come to the realization. Like one day I was literally just laying on the couch and I literally just like came to the realization of, you know what, I need to like change my lifestyle. I need to change, you know, the way I'm living, because this ain't right. You know, like this isn't kosher. Like, you know, like I can't keep thinking this way. Yeah. So people who lie to themselves and, you know, think that everything is, you know, roses and daisies, you're not seeing the world in a full panoramic view. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and it's crazy because I think what really brought the 4 of us, and by 4 of us, I mean myself, Isaac, Adam, and Mel. What really brought us together, me and Isaac specifically, other than just our, call it natural chemistry if you want, but we went through very dark times together.
Very.
We went through dark times together. We have this brotherhood or this relationship where we are brutally and unapologetically honest with each other.
Absolutely, yeah.
More honest than we like sometimes.
Yeah. he done pissed me
really
off.
Fucking argue.
Yeah, Isaac and Adam literally just fight like brothers do
all the time.
It's the pettiest of shit. Like I wish I could.
Nah, the sky's blue. It's fucking green.
Yo, let me tell you. Look, if anybody ever got a fucking glimpse into the Good Noodles podcast, which y'all never will, I'm gonna say it right now. You never will.
This is all you're getting.
This is all you get. Me and Adam fight literally over everything. Adam could be in the group chat and be like, yo, bro, I was in the streets and I saw a fucking nice ass blue Mustang. Bullshit, I saw it. It was red, bro. It was red.
Yo, I know.
Was it the blue and black dress? Y'all were the two arguing over who was blue and what was black.
Yes, that's us.
I know it's a sensitive subject, but Isaac and Adam, they don't argue like females. They argue like bitches.
Yo, me and Adam fight over everything.
It gets so violent so quick. Like they wake up every day and choose violence with each other. Like I'll literally just be like, yo, what's good, y'all? Just to start the day. And then I'm literally walking into an argument like Isaac is like, yo, fuck you, Adam, you bitch. Like, yo, like, can I have some breakfast first? I'm on the West Coast. Could I eat my breakfast first before?
Yo, 100%, bro.
With each other? Like,
yeah. And then me and Willie, and the thing was with me and Willie had this thing where we're brutally honest with each other. Like, yo, some of the conversations that me and Willie have had with each other would literally end friendships. But we have we have such a bond that like we can withstand that. But let me tell you.
But that's the problem. Honesty shouldn't break a friendship.
Well,
it should make it stronger.
Exactly. 100%.
So that's just something that's the big problem.
Talk your shit, Nancy. Because you know what? That's how you know me and Willie are tight as you could ever be. Because you know what? I've said shit to Willie and he said shit to me that should have ended our friendship.
I'm not gonna front. That nigga Isaac called me needy, and I wanted to book a flight to North Carolina and beat the fuck out of him. I promise you, I didn't. Ooh, he called me needy. Oh boy.
Let me tell you. There was one time Willie came over to my house and cooked. He was cooking at my house, and I was going through a certain situation. And I get a phone call that had to do with that certain situation. Whole time I'm on the phone, Willie in the kitchen talking shit. With your dumb ass, I told you not to get in that motherfucking situation. Yo, me and Willie argued for like 2 hours straight after that. And guess what we did? We ate food after that.
We went to the club. We drank, and then we went out and had a good night.
Had a good time.
Man. And then Mel, I don't know why Mel sticks along. Yeah, I think that it's just on the show that we just slander Mel the whole time, but no.
Nah, it should have been Mel.
Conversations with Mel is us.
To the point where our kids are doing it. Right, Adam?
Yo, I'm not gonna hold you. My son definitely still be saying it. Something happened. I think the baby like threw up on him. And he was like, "Oh, it should have been Mel, Lord." But that's just us. Like we just took a whole serious conversation and not made light of it. We take it seriously, but
no, we definitely take it serious. 100%.
So if you're out there, you're listening, you watching, fucking number one, be honest with yourself.
Thanks for listening, bitches.
So thank you for telling us what scuffs your Timbs, Mrs. Nancy Knight. Thanks you for telling us your what scuffs your chanclas, your Nikes, your combat boots. Yeah, that's right, Isaac. You're not the only one with a deployment in this episode. Nancy got two of them things on her. Shout out to the 14-year veteran, Mrs. Nancy Knight. Okay, so now we're going to go into hot topics. Now, I know we've mentioned it already in the show, but I want to make it abundantly clear what this hot topic is. The hot topic is the term woman versus the term female. Now, this is coming from someone with a military background. So all of our listeners and viewers don't have a military background. So please, please, please politely, respectfully educate us on why this term is so taboo now, like what's going on out there that we are missing, because I don't get it. In the military, female is just a very commonly used term for everything. Like
that's a fact.
Not for everything, but when I identify men and women, like I said it already, like me and Mrs. Knight, we work together. When they're calling us and we're both in the place, they'll say male Knight, female Knight. There's certain like manuals for equipment that we have. It'll say male part, female part. Like it's no, we have classes, we literally have discussions in the military about derogatory terms. Female is nowhere near that list.
Ever. So
please educate the Good Noodles on why that is. If you are listening, if you are viewing, please take the time to find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, comment on the YouTube video, email us at goodnoodlespodcast@gmail.com. Whatever you have to do. If you haven't listened to any of the episodes, this is your first one. We're on Twitter at Good Noodles PC, Instagram, Good Noodles Podcast, Facebook, the page is Good Noodles Podcast. Hit us up. Let us know what it is about the term female that is becoming so derogatory.
And we got the goodest noodle on the podcast today, Mrs. Nancy Knight.
This is the goodest of goodest noodles, right?
She is literally the goodest of goodest noodles.
So, Mrs. Nancy Knight, talk to us. What, from a woman's perspective, what's going on with this terminology here?
When you actually talked to me about it, I think it was the first time I've ever heard about it. I don't really see. I mean, when I refer to my females soldiers, I say my female soldiers. I'm not gonna say my women soldiers. It just sounds awkward and weird to me. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't know. I don't have a lot to say on it because I really don't find a problem with it. I don't think that anybody says it to be disrespectful, and anybody can take any word out of context, to be honest with you, and depending on how you use it. It just depends on how you say it, how you receive it. If you're saying it with attitude, are you saying it normal? Like I
think that's what's happening. I think people are, and I'm going to say people, I don't know if it's just men specifically, but I think people are starting to use the term female in a derogatory sense. And I don't.
But what I don't get is, so how can you have a group of female be like, oh, I'm about to go out with my bitches, or I'm about to go out with my friends?
That's different.
No, it's context. It's context.
Because now there's a bunch of females talking about each other. Like that's the same word. Like that's the same group as where everybody's like, well, how come they can say the N-word and I can't say it? Because it just doesn't sound right coming from you. From you, it's disrespectful because of where it comes from. You know, like from us is we're cool. You know, hey, that's my girl. Like.
That's my bitch.
I'm gonna call her. If that's what they want to call each other, that's what they call each other. But it coming from a male, it's disrespectful. It just is. Not all females think like that.
I'm gonna just take your word.
That's just the way I take it. But not all females take it like that. Some females are okay with them being called that, but most, I'll say about 90% of females, if you call them the B word, they go crazy. But if you like look female, or if you're like look woman, I think woman is more. You know what I mean? Because you hear it more.
I agree with that. I think if you call, like when you say like woman, and like they're like that's more derogatory than calling a female a female. Yeah, I said that right. But the way people really blowing this shit out of proportion, I'm gonna stick to what I've been saying the whole night. We might as well just start calling females bitches because that's what they're acting like we're saying anyways.
Please don't do that, Adam.
I don't agree.
No, I'm just saying, but like it's got to the point where like we can't even say female or woman without it being
we don't know
pushed to a bit
past of this female either, or this woman, or however she wants to be referred to.
I just want to let y'all know Isaac Moretta does not support calling any woman a B word. I just want to put that out there.
I mean, I don't support it and I don't do it on a regular basis, but I'm just saying in this context, I just feel like it was blown out of proportion. And I understand everybody has their right.
It's blown. Everybody has their right to you because no one has called you a female in a derogatory sense. Now these people, because it wasn't just one person.
I know. I'm just saying in general.
The demographic of people that get offended by it, they've obviously been called this over the course of time in a derogatory sense. So I guess
something has happened to trigger them.
Yeah. So like feel like it's that term has become a trigger. So
Okay, but no, hold on. But I get that. But okay, this is gonna hint on something that we already talked about. So that's fine. Like, hey, you're offended by, you know, calling a woman female. Have you defended a man being called a male? Because if we're gonna play both sides,
if they're triggered by it, then
but no, that's the thing, because that's the thing. You can't be triggered by something that's one-sided.
You can't say that. People can be triggered by anything.
No. Okay. Let me back up.
My husband gets triggered by. We all know what he gets triggered by, and you probably be like,
Sharks trigger Willie.
And to us, it might be funny, but to that person, it really isn't. It's something that really bothers them. It's
okay.
But
So if we're speaking about one person individually, okay, fine. But if we're talking about like society as a whole and then multiple people, like, okay, if we're gonna agree as a society as a whole that the word female is offensive, then you know what? Don't ever call me a male ever in your life.
Okay, but why is the term male? So it's petty because now you're saying the male is only offensive because the term female is offensive.
Well, but that's my whole point.
No,
that's my whole
point. Okay, I'm not saying
I feel like if you call somebody like a woman, like that's more derogatory than a female.
Right. But you're not the person being called that, so you can't tell anybody what is derogatory to them.
That's why I should just say, "Hey, bitch."
That's derogatory to them. You can't do that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like they already acting like I'm going there, so I might as well just take it there.
Or just don't say either of the terms.
Just respect the person.
Just respect.
Willie, you done use female more than anybody else on this podcast today.
Shut the fuck up. Anyway, so that's our hot topic for today, for this week or whatever. Again, if this term upsets you or triggers you or you feel as though it's a derogatory term, please do the Good Noodles a favor. Come on the show, tell us. If you want to come on the show, please do. If you want to just comment, hit us up, whatever the case, we'll leave you anonymous, all that shit.
I cannot wait to get the feedback about this episode.
Please tell us. We're already, by the time this episode is released, we're already going to take the social media about the term, but please hit us up. Tell us your thoughts on the term. So now we're going to get to the main topic, the main event. So now we're going to get into the main topic, the reason why Mrs. Nancy decided to come on the show. She had some things she wanted to say. And who the fuck am I to say, no, you can't come on the show and say what you got to say. So without further ado,
you want to sleep in the house, you're going to let her come on the show.
Without further ado, Mrs. Knight is going to talk to us about religion. And
let's go. Let's get it.
Let's go. Go ahead. Mrs. Knight, what's up? What you got to say?
I want to start by asking a question. Have any of y'all ever had a religion?
Yeah.
I grew up in the church.
What you mean
like
by religion?
I legitimately grew up like I used to lead the youth group in church, all that.
I grew up Catholic. I was an altar boy. I was active in the church baseball league. I was always volunteering there. Easter, other Catholic holidays and stuff like that. It all just escaped me just now. I had a whole list in my head. When I started talking, I forgot most of them. But I grew up Catholic.
I grew up Catholic, but I didn't really go to church. Never really been.
I grew up more on Nancy. I grew up more on Nancy's side of things. Like, and it's fine.
I only went to church on like holidays and shit. Like I went on Easter, on like Palm Sunday, like for Lent. I might go on like a Christmas with my grandmother type shit, but I ain't never really been big on religion, and then that was more like of a. I don't really say a social thing. It's more of like I have a lot of questions.
Right. No. So you and Willie grew up more on the Catholic side, and I think me and Nancy understand more like the difference between like being like a devoted Catholic versus being like an evangelistic or, all the other denominations, Christian, non-denominational, how they call us in the Army. Like, I grew up in a church. I grew up leading the youth group, going to classes, all that. So, yeah.
What drove y'all away from it?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What drove me away from church?
Church, religion, whatever part that you're driven away from now.
Not knowing and having a lot of questions, and I don't believe everything I read, and I don't understand how you can tell me about a book written by whoever about a guy, but nobody knows where he originally came from. And I believe in God. Well, I believe in a higher power. I believe in God, yes, but there's a lot of questions that I have that I don't see in the Bible, and I can't just go online and Google it and get my answers. And in there, that lies with my logical thinking power, I guess you could say. And that's why it kind of strayed me.
I think it was forced on me. I never had an option. Do you want to go to church was never a question I was asked. I was always told I had to go to church by my grandmother. My little cousins, who I hope are watching the show or listening, they had an option. And I was older than them and whatever the case may be, and I didn't have an option. I feel like every kid, child, teenager, whatever in the family had an option to go to church, but me.
You were the only one. They did you dirty.
Yo, it was like, no, I don't. You're going to church. Like, I was basically told that I had to volunteer as an altar boy and whatever the case may be. And then I would see the Jehovah's Witnesses knock on the door and try to talk about their views and whatever on religion. And my grandmother would flip completely, like, oh, don't come over here forcing your religion on us. And I'm over there like,
hello, Ma.
You mean
Grandma.
like, you mean like what you're doing with me? Like, you're making me go to church? Like, in church, all right, Adam. In church, hey. They say, they keep telling us God is everywhere. God is watching you. God sees everything you do, this, that, and third. Why do I have to go to church to worship God? Why am I less religious if I don't go to church? Why is it that there were just a lot of, like, in my opinions, there were just a lot of contradictions and a lot of hypocrisies going on, because I'm like, okay, so you're telling me is this how this religion works, where I commit a sin and then ask for forgiveness and then I'm forgiven and then I can have a life of sin that goes against the commandments of God and against the things in the Bible. And then if I know I'm getting closer to death, do I just get baptized, washed away of all my sins, and then I get to crip walk all the way up up to the pearly white gates, and then I get into heaven? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. Even going to Sunday school, I really felt like it was a waste of time. Going to church, it just wasn't for me. Like, once I had the option to go, I didn't want to go because it was something I was forced to do. Like, imagine being forced to do something at a young age or whatever the case. And then, like, you are literally forced to do it. You have no options. Like I'm not saying I would get beat if I didn't go, because I never had the option to not go.
But you were basically forced to go, yeah.
Yo, Janine, I didn't see Janine step foot in church. But
Janine made you
go to church with my grandmother. I would be mad and argue with my grandmother. My uncle and my mom and all the adults would be like, "You're going," and I'm like, "But it's just me and her going. I don't see y'all going." Why?
Do you think that it would have changed, like, the way you view church if you would have actually seen your mother going and those people you looked up to? Because obviously you're a child. Maybe you would have been more receptive of it. Yeah.
maybe we all went for Christmas mass, if that.
Yeah, that was the way we did it. We went to like
Easter.
my mom and my grandma, they went to church like every week, but like I ain't really have to go. I would just go, and then I was in the street, bro. I was doing dumb shit. So like I was like out all night on Saturdays, and then just coming doing whatever, and then like I don't know, like I ain't never really got forced to go, and then for the longest like I was worried about the only really reason why I wanted to go back to church to begin with really was because whenever I started talking to my mom about getting married and shit, we were talking about I needed to do like a communion and some shit
Right.
I had to
A christening?
do something. No, something so I could get married in a Catholic church or some shit like that. She was
You
like,
gotta go
"Oh,
through
if you
like
want."
counseling and
You
stuff
have to
like that,
go
right?
through the you have to
I
have
believe you
the
do. Yeah.
I
seven
think
sacraments
it's
or whatever the case, and
I don't know, but they told me that I had to do all this to get married in a Catholic church. And then like I wanted to do that, but then after a while I was like, I didn't really want to get married in a church. So then I didn't even fucking do that because I couldn't commit to it because I, it wasn't something that really meant anything to me. Like, and it
it didn't.
wasn't.
It didn't.
So
It
then I
meant
just
nothing
was
to me.
like,
Right.
if I'm not even going to commit to it for something like that, I'm not even going to bother doing it, bro.
So
Facts.
my brother
So
Jerome and Kyle, they grew up going to church in Coney Island. Like Jerome and Kyle was in church every day. Every day. I was in church for an hour on Sundays, and it was still, no pun intended, it was still hell. They in church. They went to a Baptist church, so they in church from 8 o'clock Sunday morning
so they was in there.
to 3 o'clock
So they was
Tuesday
in there.
afternoon. Like, man, and it never did anything for me. Like I prayed, I
So
confessed, I did it. I did what the good book told me to do, and what everyone was saying. Hey, if you want to be a good Catholic and a good follower, a worshiper of God, this is what you need to do, or da 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 da. And I'm just like, I did all of that. I did it. It did nothing for me. I didn't feel like I was in a better place. I didn't feel like I was in God's hands or whatever the case may be. Like it just
Then
didn't do
another
anything
thing
for
that
me.
I
It
never
didn't.
really got was like how people would devote themselves to a religion. It could be any religion, really. And then if you're like devoting yourself to a god or a higher power,
Stop it.
Allah, whatever you want to like pick and choose, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't understand how, like, if I'm devoting myself to you and then I'm doing everything right by whoever you're praising, and then you just get like cancer or like you just get like some off the wall shit happening to you. And it's like, damn, like, how can this person be really devoting themselves to you? And this is how you're supposed to repay them.
all right, hold on. So I'm gonna speak on my experience real quick because I know Nancy ready. Nancy got the shit in the chamber. She about to go off. So before she does that, so let me speak on it. I was born into a Christian, household. Mom and dad. Mom to this day, she's super. I don't like using the term religious, but she's a Christian. My dad, rest in peace. He same thing. My uncle has 3 churches across this country, and then he has one in the Dominican Republic. He's a preacher. My aunt, she's a preacher as well as leading worship and all that stuff. My cousins, I got a cousin who she's a worship leader. One of my cousins plays the drums. So like my entire family is literally Christians, like they have churches, whatever. So I will say this. So the church that I was literally born into, me and my mom kind of stepped away from that when I was 5 years old. And I never understood why. Never understood why. Until I got older. and she told me there was some shit going on in that church, like some fraud shit, like people were acting shady or whatever. And I was like, all right, whatever, cool.
Shout out to Greenleaf on Netflix.
Low key, that's exactly what it was.
Ain't nothing but shady shit going on that show.
So then, we moved on to another church, whatever the case may be. This is where, and to answer your question, Nancy, where you said, what made y'all move away from it, right? So I stopped going to church for I think it was 3 weeks. And it was on some, I had work, I was still in school. My mom even got mad at me for not going to church. I walked back into church, and this dude that was newer to the church, he was dating one of my homegirls from church, pulls me to the side, and he goes, hey, man, can I talk to you? And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. He was like, hey, I want to apologize to you. For what? He was like, oh, I've been talking a lot of shit about you lately, and I just want to apologize because I realize you're not that type of guy. So if you didn't know me, why were you talking about me in the first place?
I have never in my life felt more judged than when I step inside the doors of a church.
So that's what I'm saying. That's one, it's not the religion, it's the community. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
Because the religion, I still pray. Hey, look, I may not pray every night, but I pray a lot of times. And I also pray when I got something big. Hey, God, look, I know it's been 40. hey, look, it's been 48 hours since we last talked. Papito, I love you. Can I get some good energy my way? But that's what turned me off to it. It wasn't the religion. It wasn't the church itself. It was the community.
Okay. So before we keep going, I know we could all keep going, but we brought her on the show so she could talk about it. So now we're going to let her talk about it.
Let her loose. Let her loose, Nancy.
Say what you got to say, Mrs. Nancy Knight.
I guess I learned at a very young age that it's not religion. It's a relationship. And if you don't understand that it's a relationship, it's more, it goes beyond a man standing up and preaching. It has a lot to do with it. It says that faith comes by listening. But have always been drawn to the church. And then to find out, a church isn't a building. Correct. We are the church.
I agree.
We are the church. As individual persons, we are, or human beings, we are the church. And I think what drives a lot of people out of church is religion. So that's why I asked that. And then when Isaac was like, I don't like to refer to as religion, it's because religion is it's what drives people out of church.
Right. I agree 100%.
Everybody has different beliefs, and the typical religious person is, you don't believe in what I believe in, then I don't like you, or I go against what you have to say, but if you have a relationship with God, you understand more things because you can actually have a conversation with God. And somebody that's never had that relationship with God will never understand that. People like, that person is freaking crazy. But I've had experiences that cannot be explained.
Right.
And I'm gonna let you know right now, can no human see past you? Only God can see you. And only God knows your feelings, and only God knows your emotions, and only He can reach that deep inside of you to allow you the numbness to leave your body for that moment in time. And that's the relationship that I'm talking about. That was what I experienced when I walked into a church. Going through a lot of personal stuff at a young age, like walking into that church and feeling that, like feeling safe, allowing myself to feel and not numb myself away from it. And I wasn't forced. And of course, this isn't supposed to be something you're forced to do.
Facts.
This is something that has to come out of you, because Joshua said, if y'all want to go praise your gods on the other side of the river, then you go ahead and do that. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Absolutely. Did he say, no, y'all need to come over here with me and serve the Lord? No, he said, it's your choice who you serve, what God you serve. But I choose to serve Jehovah. I choose to serve Almighty God. That's who I choose to serve. So, and it is your choice. It's not something that should be pushed upon you. It's something that God himself will call you and will put it in your heart. It's something that has to come out of you, because if it doesn't come out of you, then you're not going to be receptive of it, because it's not something that you have agreed to. You have to agree to this relationship in order for you. If somebody forces themselves on you, you're not going to be turned on. If somebody forces themselves to be in your life and you don't want them there, you're not going to be welcoming of that, are you?
I mean, yeah, but it's the way I see it with your relationship or your religion. It's a matter of belief. I can't follow the word of God if I don't believe in God. I can read the Bible and interpret it as I see fit. I can read the Quran, and it's a matter of interpretation and how and the teachings of it, or whatever the case may be. Going to heaven or hell, you can't say I'm going to hell. I don't believe that that's a place that exists, but this is not to say like this is my wife, people, and you hear me saying I don't believe in God. My wife is a very good Christian woman. We make it work. Where there's a will, there's a way. Will's right here.
I'm gonna tell you something. It don't matter where he go. Since we've been together, I think today you text me, you told me that somebody told you something.
Yeah, the chaplain in the chaplain at work. We had just I mentioned it earlier in the episode. We had just wrapped up the final day of a week-long, I guess, training, if you want to call it. We didn't want to call it a training, but he has sat with me through all the classes where we're talking about suicide or whatever the case, and I'm facilitating it, teaching it, whatever. And he's like, man, like the Lord is using you, and like he's using you, and this is your calling and things like that. And I texted her that he said that, so that's what that was. That's not the first time that's happened, though.
Just because you don't believe in him doesn't mean that he doesn't believe in you. And when you accept something into your life, whether you believe it or not, you accept it something with your heart. So it will come back. And I can't wait to see the process of my husband. And I'm glad that we have this podcast as a what's it called? As a testimony of his life to come. I hope one day we can come back and look at this video. Adam, like so many people ask the same question, like what the Bible, like how am I supposed to understand it, or how am I supposed to believe it? Other people are like, this was written by man, but in our religion, our beliefs, it's led us to really find out the truth. When you have a relationship with God, there's an interpretation that happens in your spirit that you can't explain, that you can only experience yourself. if you allow yourself to experience it. And then you realize these men were used by God to write this word. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, you could say that, da, 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 da. I've heard the arguments, but I tell all those people, have you allowed yourself to have a relationship with God for him to explain it to you? Have you allowed God to open those doors to show you this stuff? Everything that happens around us, God is trying to bring us closer to him. He still warns us because we have people praying over us. Isaac, he still
I
Damn, why
believe
I get called out?
some
I
of
don't
that,
get that.
bro. Like
I don't know.
there's certain things, like I said, I do believe in a higher power. I do believe that there is something over us. I don't know what it is personally, and I don't think no one does, but
I wouldn't say
I do
nobody.
believe in I do believe like in prayer. I do believe in shit like that, but there's just certain things that doesn't make sense to me logically.
So, Adam, how does that work for you and your wife? Because I know your wife has her own approach towards her. I don't want to call. I
Cat was big
I don't
in
know what to
church.
call it.
Like,
A
Cat was like,
religion.
she was big in Catholic. She was like going to church. She was a little altered person. She did all that shit,
She was an altar girl.
I guess. Fuck about I don't know what that shit's called. But she did all that shit, bro. She was really big in church when she was growing up.
And what about
She was
now?
really involved. When we were in Georgia, we would go to church, and I wouldn't mind going, bro. Like I like going, and like I like I like the pastor's vibe, the one that we had in Georgia, because it was like I don't really like going to church and then we're sitting in a big prayer circle and we're gonna just read the Bible together. Like I never really understood that. I could read this shit by myself. I didn't need to fucking sit here for 2 hours for you to fucking read to me.
It's about interpretation, though.
Nah, but what I'm saying is like the reason why I fuck with the pastor in Georgia is because like he would read like the Bible before or whatever scripture like before mass, and then like he would go off and like speak the interpretations and based on the story and explain the story and like put his own twist into it, and like he would make it into like real life situations, and I thought that shit was kind of dope. So I like the way like he presented it.
Well, you
That's
got to
why I didn't really
remember,
mind.
Adam, you got to remember, like, the Bible was written. I'm not going to even pretend like I know the exact amount of years, but we're talking thousands of years. So you can take some of them. So we can take some of those same stories that were written in the Bible and apply them to today's date. And I know Nancy feels where I'm coming from, because some of the same stuff that we talked about, whether in the Old Testament and the New Testament, can be applied to today's life. Like the whole book of Corinthians, the whole book Ecclesiastes, all that, like all it can be like applied to today.
It's all meant to be preached.
Right. So, and that's one of those things. Like, yes, I'm not in the church anymore, but don't get it twisted. Like that's just still in my bloodline. Mm-hmm. Like I already know. Like
that's why I called your name, because I wanted to know, because you explained it, but you didn't explain why you got driven away from it.
So no, the biggest reason I don't want to say I got driven away. I left myself because the church that I was in, it got very political, and I don't know if y'all know what I mean by that. Like it got very like your social status in the church mattered, and I hated that. I'm telling you, I hated that, because you know what? Why should you have a social status in the church? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. There's levels to it. There's the pastor. There's the pastor's wife. There's the deacons. For us, I don't know if you if you call the same thing, Nancy, but mujeres. Like there was
Ushers.
them. Yeah. So I get it. There's a structure. But like, for example, the church me and my mom used to attend to was in Queens. I used to live in Brooklyn. Me and my mom would travel from Brooklyn to Queens every Sunday. There was people that looked down upon us because we lived in Brooklyn and not in Queens. But mind you, me and my mom was living better in Brooklyn than you was living in Queens. So eventually I was like, bro, I'm not dealing with this.
So why
anymore.
not find a different place?
So no, and that's what my uncle started his own church, and that's where my mom is going right now.
Okay.
So that's fine. Like my mom's going there, that's family, whatever. But it's just that it didn't turn me off on religion. It turned me off on the concept of religion. Like that, like the concept of you have to be in church every Sunday, yada yada. But it's what you said, Nance. Like it's your relationship with God. That's all it is.
No, but that's how I feel too, bro. Like how can you tell me how much I'm devoted to somebody, or how much I love God, or how much I love whoever, just because I go to church? I could be completely devoted and all that shit to him and talk to him every day, have a wonderful relationship with him, and not go to church at all.
So
Just
this is
because I have a
where
relationship, like just because my relationship doesn't significantly like
Hey, time out. Hey, that word fucked Adam up.
That shit beat your ass this morning, dog.
no, but
Hey,
since
that
it
shit
isn't
beat.
like it isn't really showing like, you know, what the normal standards of something would be, bro. Like people will like look down upon it because
Right.
it's not the norm. And that
so
shit shouldn't matter, bro.
I don't think people should look down on it, but I think it should be explained why it's important. Because when you are all together as brothers and sisters in Christ, you battle together.
No,
There's going
I
to
got
be
that.
times that you need help. You are going to fall. Something's going to happen in your marriage. Something's going to happen with your kids. Something's going to happen in your family. Something's going to happen at work. And you need your people to your left and your right. They're going to help you stand up, pray, and fight the good fight. It's not about it. And that's the problem. People think it's about, like you said, being social. And it's not. You're not there to be social. You're there to worship God, and you're there to receive a word to be renewed so that you can keep going, because this is not an easy life we're living, especially in 2021. This
Yeah,
is
no.
a hard time we are in, and we need it. We need that word that lifts us up every day. And it shouldn't matter if I live in a tent under a bridge or if I live in a mansion in Malibu, of where my stature is with God.
Right, but that's
Because I
saying Nance.
promise you that
Go
that
ahead, go ahead.
person under the bridge could probably be the person that is used, you know, to preach to that person in that Malibu mansion.
See,
So,
but that's the thing,
and
Nance.
yes,
That's what you
but
said.
that's what man does. Man, the
Right.
Pharisee, gets up in church and points fingers like this, and points fingers and says, no, this is the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be structure. It's supposed to be law. It's supposed to be, but it's that really what it is? No, that's not what it is. And that's why people get away from it. And that's why people don't want nothing to do with it, because it's pushed on them, because they are told they need to do this and do that, instead of being talked to with love and say, look, if you don't think that this is something that you need to do right now, then I'm going to pray for you that you come back and that you understand why you need to be here with us, because we're not going to let you go. We're going to fight with you, because what's going on around your world right now is bad times. This is why human beings become numb.
Mm-hmm. I
This
agree.
is why human beings don't want nothing to do, and I can go way beyond there. You know, I could go into the spiritual realm, and where people's gonna be like, "What the heck is she talking about? She's crazy." But this goes deeper than us having a conversation.
No, and I completely agree with you, Nance. But the point you hit on at first is that, and I'm glad you said that. You got what we call la carne y el espíritu.
Mm-hmm.
The body
flesh
versus
and the spirit,
and the flesh and the
Can you tell
spirit.
Adam what that means?
The flesh versus the spirit. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I literally I grew up in this, just like the way you in it right now. I grew up in it. But this is what happens. The flesh sometimes takes over in these churches, and that's what drives people away. And I'm not saying that they're wrong for going away because of the flesh, but you got to remember, we're all humans. So regardless of my spiritual connection with the Lord, sometimes that flesh gonna push me out.
I have no
because this person, like, no funny stuff. I have gotten into more fistfights in my church than outside of it, and that should
you
tell
want
you
to know
something.
why?
Why?
Because the devil likes to sit in the pews more than it does in the world.
Absolutely, but that's what I'm telling you.
Because
Like,
why? Because he wants to do exactly what you just said. He wants to drive you out of church.
So
right.
He doesn't.
Here's my thing that I just a part of just me, like, okay, I'm this is not me. Number one, call me what you want, people. I don't trust history. The stories we could play a game of telephone right now and we could figure out how that goes. For the young bucks that don't know what the game of telephone is literally we stand in a really long line. I whisper something in your ear, maybe a story that might have happened. You have to whisper it in the other ear. Then we're gonna see what the story is when it gets to the last
right.
Or even just one word.
Even just one word. Boom. It don't gotta be a story.
You could be like vanilla.
And by the time it gets to the other, it was like, oh, he said something about a shoe.
That motherfucker said chinchilla.
Right. I wish it was that close. I'd be okay if it was that close. But number one, I don't trust history, and therefore I feel as though religion, the good books that people use today to worship and be guided in their religion and their relationship with their higher power, or their term that escapes me right now. It was written at one point in time, and then it was rewritten, and then it was rewritten, and then it was rewritten, and then somewhere in between it potentially happening, it was chopped and screwed. It was misconstrued. It's I don't know.
Were you there?
Were you?
Were you?
I wasn't, which is why I don't believe it. You weren't there either. So you're reading it from a book. People are telling you that this story was basically being passed along and along and along and along. If you really want me to get deep, I mean, think about it. Education was used as damn near a crime during the times of slavery, where you are not supposed to be that educated. We do not want you to have this knowledge. Why is that? Now we're the ones teaching you. So you mean to tell me that I'm supposed to trust you with what you're teaching me? There's that part of life. So that I just don't trust the story of something being told onto me and onto me and onto me. I'm not going to live forever. So I'm not going to just spread this word forever. It's just, I'm going to keep my beliefs to myself. I absolutely support and respect the people who believe in God or believe in Allah or believe in Buddha, whoever you believe in. I absolutely support it. Shout out to my friend Shabazz, who may not even be watching the show, but he's Muslim. I have asked him many questions on the Nation of Islam or the religion of being Muslim and like that. What's up?
There's a difference between the nation.
I'm not saying
no. Hold on, no. I'm talking about just that there's a difference between the Nation of Islam and being Islamic. There's two different things.
I know that. But it was just us having conversations. I've asked questions before. I'm not saying they're the same thing, so people, please don't take it that way. Yeah. And plus, I've been told countless amount of times it's a matter of belief. It's a matter of faith. You have to have faith in it. You have to have faith in God. You have to have that relationship with God, or whatever the case may be. And I didn't have that. I didn't invest in it. I didn't want it. People would tell me you have a God complex, and this, that, and I'm like, you call it, if you want to call a spade, you can. I don't call it anything. I just call it being me. That's one thing. That's one point. Another thing is you were mentioning about the flesh of it, the people in the religion. Like I've never, it always confused me, like how every single thing in life relates to the Bible. Like no matter what, no matter what, like no matter what happens, someone can tie it back to the Bible. And I'm just like, wow, this was a beautiful story that was written, and it just encompasses so many different things. I'm not buying it. I'm just not. My mom.
They're all lessons.
They're okay. You know what? And here's what I'm gonna say as well. The Bible has outstanding lessons in it.
What were y'all talking about today? Y'all were talking about women being promiscuous and men, right?
Okay.
Right? Sure. There's a story in the Bible about that.
You were standing a few feet away from a few feet away from me while we were talking about it.
Back in their time, if a woman was caught fornicating, doing adultery, they were killed by stone.
That's fucking foul.
So
you mad at you gonna kill me because I'm having sex? Like,
because it was a sin. It is
so
it's a sin to commit fornication or adultery. It's part of their religion, right? Okay. So what happened, right? The woman would get stoned to death. That would be her punishment for being promiscuous, and a man wouldn't.
Why not?
So that's why.
Does the Bible say that all men were created equal?
That's why Jesus came and there was this scenario, right?
That's another thing. Like,
can you listen? Are you gonna listen, or are you gonna interrupt me?
I will. Okay. I'm gonna do a little bit of both.
I'm so glad y'all married.
I'm glad we are too. I want to make that perfectly clear, people. Go ahead, finish. If you don't mind.
That was so petty.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, shut up, Isaac.
Are we done?
Adam's here, so we're definitely ready.
No, so for real, like being serious, there was a woman named Mary who was dragged out by the elderlies of the city, and they were going to stone her to death because she was caught committing adultery. And so Jesus walks up to them and they ask him, "What do you think of this?" And he said, "He without sin," and I know we all know this, "cast the first stone." And all of them dropped their stones and walked away. Who are we to judge anybody? You know what Jesus told him? Told her. He said, "Arise and sin no more." Do we say that? Do we say, you know what? I'm not talking about literally, and you know that. I'm talking because that's like talking about, can you build a home if you can cook? It's not meant literally.
Fucking dick.
It's it's not meant literally. It's meant.
So what is it meant then?
Have you sat down and had a conversation with a person and been like, well, what happened? Why? What's the root of this that's making you do this? Where do the issues lie that you have done this to be unfaithful to somebody that you love? Because she committed adultery, right? Do we take the time to ask somebody, what did you do? Why did you do it? Where's the root that leads to this? This is what I mean by people lie to themselves all the time.
I mean, I think not everybody. I'm not going to
deeper.
speak for everybody. But I think, for example, like when me and Willie spoke about earlier, how me and him are brutally honest. Me and Willie will sit there and be like, "Okay, you did this, but why?" Yeah, like no, in real talk, like I'm not trying to be funny just for the podcast, but me and Willie will literally sit there and be like, "What was the root of this? What were you trying to do?"
You were just
And
trying
he,
to be a bad person.
right, and no, and me and Willie can attest to it. We've literally sat there and have had goddamn Drake level conversations.
Don't do that. You can't say goddamn and Drake in the same sentence.
And we've literally been there like, all right, so this is what happened, but why?
So
Why?
It's
roots, right?
I get what you're saying, Nancy, but no one, at least right now in my life, no one can move me from the notion of how do you know this is what happened?
I'm not gonna do it. It won't be me.
Okay, that's fine. I don't think it'll be.
I'll let my prayers do the talking.
And it's just like there's so many questions in the story that no one can give me a straight answer for. I feel like a lot of the questions you ask Christians or Catholic people is it gets danced around because it's like,
or you just don't want to accept what they're saying,
or I just don't believe what they're saying.
That's a fact.
Oh, there you go. It's not that they're dancing, it's that you don't believe.
And okay, that's it. But that's it right there. I feel like that right there should be the end of the conversation. Is if you don't believe, then you don't believe. Don't think of me different. Don't think of me less. Like, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people that drove me
but
out.
let me right, and that's what I mean. Not everybody is the same.
And then as an adult, tried to go back to church, and I was still like, no, not the place for me. It's not it. Don't sit here and think of me differently because I have tattoos and I curse and I think smoking weed is great and I drink alcohol and have unmarital sex. Don't think differently. Don't think differently of me because of that.
Level up.
So
I was trying to hold it
in. So there you have it, people. We as the Knight family obviously have our differences and beliefs and views. The Good Noodles have their own beliefs and views and different backgrounds on it. If there's something you got to say, something that we missed, something that you wanted to chime in on, hit us up. We'll be talking about it on Instagram at Good Noodles Podcast. We'll be talking about it on YouTube. Hopefully you're watching now, or if you're listening, go check out our YouTube channel. Good Noodles Podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on Breaker. No excuses.
Shout out to Anchor for making that shit happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks. So there's no excuses now. Maybe you just wasn't with the whole YouTube thing because you can't use it in the background or close your phone or do other things. Well, we on Spotify.
Oh, you didn't like my editing. It's okay. I understand.
So we're on multiple streaming.
Why did I know that was coming?
Because
I try my best.
So go check us out. Well, you're checking us out. So, Mrs. Knight, you have anything else to say on the subject?
No. All I want to say is if there is somebody out there that maybe needs some, a prayer, or maybe they're seeking more and they want that, and if you want that guidance, I'm always here. I'm always here to pray for somebody. And if you are that person that's tired of lying to themselves and are ready to be freed, like my husband said, just hit us up, let them know. And if it's something you want to do just strictly between you and I, just let us know. And I will be more than happy to sit down and talk to you more in depth if you have questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mrs. Nancy Knight, for being on the show and taking us through this very important conversation. If you haven't figured it out by now, people, this is a motherfucking variety podcast.
Yes, sir.
All right. Before we bid farewell to the Good Noodles Podcast familia, Adam, that means family, we are going to take a shot and bid our farewells.
Let's go.
Salud, dinero, amor.
Dinero y amor. Puñeta sea.
Say your...